There was no like, oh, I'm gonna shoot this girl a text, and then like rejection is easy, or you know what I mean? Like you were meeting up, you would meet up with all of your friends at the movie theater, the ice rink, or whatever it is. So like nowadays, these kids coming into the game of real estate, dude, we have so much more experience on just communication. And that's not a slight against any of them, but in terms of it, like, you know what I mean? If that makes sense.
No, 1,000% agree with you. That's what we did. We grew up in that era.
Yeah.
You know, like I was telling you about the phone books. Like literally you would look up, find who you thought was cute in the phone book, and then or not the phone book, but the yearbook.
Yeah.
And then try to piggyback and find, you know, their name in the phone book and match the, you know, the last name with the person. And that's kind of how it started. And then you had to take that rejection.
And it made you stronger though.
Yeah, no, 1,000. I'll tell you what else though. Like, it kind of correlates with what we're doing too. We had to wait for things. Like this generation,
dude,
like when you talk about waiting for like my kids, for example, they get to watch cartoons and stuff whenever they want it.
On demand.
We had to wait every single week until Saturday.
Yeah.
Not only did it make it feel more special, but we learned what like not having that instant gratification felt like.
Oh yeah, you had to watch trash TV.
These kids, man, like they want everything right now, and real estate doesn't work like that.
Oh no, yeah,
100%. It doesn't work like that.
No, I think they also have an advantage because they are more tech savvy than we were ever. Like, I mean, I'm good. You know, I'm not saying that I'm bad at it, but they grew up with cell phones. They grew up with laptops. They grew up with all of these things. Dude, we had them bootleg Apple computers at the school that were like crusty, kind of like grayish. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like we didn't have, you know, growing up, we didn't have the nice stuff that they have now. Flat screens and all this stuff. Dude.
They're going to be ahead of us in some aspects of. The game always changes, but
it will. Are we going to start this?
You want to start it?
Let's start it, brother.
If we start, there's no turning back,
dude. We need to start it. Right. So hit it with it.
Well, for those of you who have been following me, you know that my name is Matt Trader and that I'm a commercial real estate broker at Rainier Development Company. You may also follow my Trader Real Estate Entertainment programming. And if you do, then you know that I'm all about real estate and entertainment. Well, this, folks, is the place where real estate and entertainment meets. This is the Prop Culture Podcast. And to my left is my man, my tag team partner, property manager extraordinaire with a little bit of Ric Flair. Whoa, Mr. Shane Snoots. Shane, tell these people what to expect here on Prop Culture.
Well, let me tell you something right now. Woo! We're going to bring something to you guys, kind of original with, real estate content, but with a little bit of pop culture and everything in between. I think now, we see a lot of the same stuff, and me and Trader talk probably 4 or 5 times a week about things, and we just decided let's make the jump into podcasting because the stuff that we're talking about is relevant, and it can make things easily to digest when it's not sounding like you're in a classroom or somebody's trying to teach you or force it down your throat. So I think we're going to bring something a little different to the table.
Absolutely, 100%. It's like I talked about years ago, the game of real estate got real, at least my game anyhow, commercial real estate got real stuffy. And, I want to show people, my goal is always to be, let's show people what people are beyond the shirt and tie. That's always been my goal. This guy, Shane, is the same way as I am on that. And we know a guy, and his tagline is humble, doesn't have a place here. Well, boring doesn't have a place here.
Oh, yeah.
You can come on, you can talk business and all that, but we're going to talk about what you really like, what really makes you tick. Yeah. All right? This is prop culture, baby. All right?
Absolutely.
Now, speaking of what makes you tick, my man here, Shane Snoots, been in the property management game for a long time.
Yeah.
How did you, in everybody I know in the game knows you, how did you get started in property management? Because it's something we have never talked about.
So wildly enough, so I'm coming up on 8 years of being down here this September. So like 8 years ago, Brandon Brittingham, is calling me. He's like, dude, I'm starting a real estate team and I want you to be on it. So I'm like, dude, this is crazy. Like at that time I was working in physical therapy. Like I had a good job, cushy job. And he's like, dude, come on, dude, you're going to make more money. Dude, he's cutting a promo on me. He's like, you're going to make more money than you've ever made before. Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't, I was like, I don't know if I'm like, this dude's crazy because his idea of what he was saying, he's like, we're going to take over the Eastern Shore. We're going to do it all, brother. So like, I'm like, okay, well, you know what? Like, let's do it. So I just made the leap of faith. Like, all right. So I came down here, and I was originally supposed to be a sales agent. Like, I was literally supposed to be in sales, but he was like, we need something to do in the meantime. Like, we're starting this team. So he's like, we just took over like these property management accounts. It's 50 units, you know, we're going to do this. So we get into it, and like, I really start to enjoy it because we're like growing, we're building stuff, and we're doing, you know, different things to the market. And, then it was like, by the time like everything came to fruition, he was like, I can't take you out of property management. Like, we've already established this. Yeah. So from there, it was, you know, it was easy for me. Like, property management is a crazy, crazy business. Yeah. Just in terms of, you're never going to make anyone happy. I mean, it's seldom do you get a thank you from anyone because, you know, you're just always, basically you are paid to be the bad guy. Yeah. An owner pays you to be the guy who delivers bad news, you know?
Is this segueing into a Razor Ramon plug?
Yeah, dude. I'm with a toothpick in my mouth, with a teardrop in my eye, like Ric Flair used to say. So the biggest thing about it was growing from 50 units, 50 doors, to where we're at now, 1,200 doors, I think. And we continue to grow. We added stuff to the market space that was different, that was going on. But the opportunity was there, you know? Yeah. And no one really liked property manager. To be honest with you, still to this day, I don't think people even consider property management a part of real estate. Like, there's no, like, no one talks about property management in the same field because no one's done it, except for us. Like, we were the first ones to really kind of, as a real estate company, focus on property management. Yeah. So,
and honestly, it might be the most vital part to real estate.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
Really, you know.
But, you know, I guess at the end of the day, what it comes down to was the opportunity that we had. I took it. I took a chance, was there. So, you know, Brandon believed in me that I could do it. And plus, I had such a great support staff. Like, so my sister works with me. So it was natural. Like, it just felt like family. Like, we were running a family business, which still to this day, it feels that way. My mother works with us. My father works, you know, like, hell, everybody in my family works with us. So
that's important, man.
Yeah.
That's why I've always stayed kind of where I am, because I grew up with a strong family, and the company that I work for, they're a strong family unit. It means a lot. So I totally get what you're saying on that.
And you know, like, the thing was, it allowed me to do so many different things in my life. Yeah. Which, like, looking back, I'm like, I would have never done if I didn't jump out of the box when I did. You know? Yeah. I was young. I wish I would have did it earlier. Yeah. You know, I was 24 when I made that decision. But looking back, if I would have done it 21, where would I be at now? You know what I mean?
I think the same thing.
It's so crazy because Brandon, the funny thing is, Brandon was recruiting me from when I turned like 21, 22, because he had this idea of what he wanted, you know? So it's very, very, like, cool to see where we're at, look back now, but we're just not, I'm never going to be okay with where we're at. Like, I'm never okay with being stagnant. So it's always on to the next thing.
I totally know what you mean. You know, I've always said that it's like every day I wake up in the morning and I feel like I'm trying to reach for some unattainable goal. Yeah. It's like you're never really satisfied. You know, it's great. And I have a great life. I can't complain. I have a beautiful wife, beautiful kids. But it's like I always want more, but it's not just for myself, but for them. Yeah. You know, it's like, and I think if the day you feel okay with just being content, you're never going to go further. So it's like the horse. The carrot's always going to be in front of the horse. Yeah. And you're never going to catch the carrot. Yeah. And that's going to carry you through life. Well, you know?
And, you know, the wild part is, like, I think you always have to put yourself in the and it's so cliche. Like, you hear, put yourself in the uncomfortable place, put yourself here. Well, it's very true. Like, you just have to literally go out and do it. Like, I hate it. And to this day, I still hate doing video. Anything that I hear my voice, all that kind of stuff, I hate it all the time. Yeah. But, like, what I realized, like, I started to normalize it. Like, I was like, I would force myself to get in front of a camera. Or actually, at one point, Brandon was forcing me to do it. Like, he was like, no, you're going to do this because we need this done. So by forcing me to do it, it actually made me grow to being like, oh, it's comfortable. You know, that's again what brought us to this point, like, where we're like, oh yeah, this is easy. We can chop it up and talk about, you know, certain things and actually give somebody a little bit of entertainment, a little piece of entertainment while trying to give them a little bit of information at the same time.
Absolutely.
You know,
Content's key, man.
so
It really is. It's
but-
key to our industry.
I have a question for you.
All right.
This is something that you've never shared with me.
All right.
How did you become a commercial real estate agent? Like, what made you jump? Because again, there's a difference between residential and commercial. So, what made you get into it?
So, where do I even begin? It's gonna be a long way. I guess we got time, right?
Yeah,
It's a 1
we
hour
got nothing but
spectacular.
time.
Yeah,
We got nothing but time.
So I graduated college. I actually went to college for like TV and film. Actually, originally it was for mass media.
Yeah.
And the more I studied the media, the more I just hated it. Like
Yeah.
I just hated it. It was like they were directing you to sway people, to sway the masses. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's selling something. But anyhow, so that's what then. The more I started studying, I didn't like it. I always had this creative mind, so I wanted to. I kind of migrated into like TV and film. I did like studio production, was in front of the camera a lot. Loved entertainment. I love the arts and entertainment. So when I graduated college, I met my wife, my now wife, the summer of 06. And we dated that whole summer, hung out. It was great, right?
Yeah.
So I had nothing going on. So she drops me, like literally, like sends me, let's talk about social media. She sends me like a Dear John letter on MySpace. Like, peace out. It was fun, but I don't really know what you're doing with your life. I don't know if you know what you're doing with your life. So I was like, man. So I was like, all right, whatever. So whatever. So, you know.
Dude, was she in your top 5 or your top 4? Like, do you remember that? Do you remember
Who was
having
the
a
guy?
top
Yeah,
8?
yeah.
Like,
Who was the guy in the top? Who was the guy?
Tom was always
number one. Yeah,
dude,
he was my guy.
What was wild is, do you remember people getting their feelings hurt about not being like,
Yeah.
why do you have me number 3 and then you're my number 2? Like, people literally got so emotional about that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That was wild.
But anyhow, so I graduate. She does all this. I really don't know what I'm doing in my life. I'm kind of working for my family a little bit part-time. And so I start going to job fairs. Don't know what I'm getting into. And next thing I know, I had an offer. I kind of wanted to get into sports at the time. At that point in time, I had this opportunity to go work for the Memphis Grizzlies, right? Right, all excited about it. So the guy who hooks me up with the Memphis Grizzlies gig, it winds up falling through. He feels so bad. He's like, look, I'm a project manager at this company in New York.
Yeah.
He's like, we're getting ready to build out the 47th floor of One New York Plaza, which is like an iconic building. You see it in all the movies.
Yeah.
So he's like, I tell you what, I feel so bad. Why don't you come work for me on this gig in New York? Great money at the time. I mean, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't know what I couldn't even build, a Lego house, let alone a 40, fit out of 40. So I go work for him for about 7-8 months. Well, all in about that time frame, like literally, like when it rains, it pours. Jen, my wife, she just starts happening to come back into my life at that point.
Yeah.
So her and I are talking. I moved to New York. She's coming up to see me. I'm going home to see her. Long story short, I wound up moving back home.
Yeah.
With nothing to do. But now she wants to be with me.
Yeah.
Although I have nothing to do, right? So we're getting real serious. So I got a lead from a woman, my mom's friend actually, who's now passed away, God rest her soul, who worked for Blair Rainier's father-in-law.
Yeah.
So she said, hey, Blair's looking for a property manager.
Okay.
No.
So
lie.
you were about to go into my career.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. This is so I go in and meet with Blair. I sit down with him and I'm like, I'm coming. I think I rolled up in like a 95 Cadillac DeVille. It was 06, 07. So I roll up in this like 95 Cadillac with cheap suit on, a little bit of confidence.
Yeah.
I came back from
Dude, you're pulling up in a 95
95
Cadillac, brother.
Yeah.
Like dude, you're coming in hot.
I love the hoop
You're
rides.
coming in hot, brother.
So anyhow, I sit down, meet with Blair. I get through the whole interview. He's like, I'm not going to hire you for property management. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, you ever thought about selling commercial real estate? And I'm like, I don't even know, like, commercial real estate. And I was like, what do you do? So he starts talking about it. I said, well, the keyword, how much money do you make?
Yeah.
And he was like, $0. I'm like, $0? I'm like, what do you mean zero? He's like, if you don't sell, you don't make any money.
Yeah.
He's like, but this is one of the few professions in our area where you can make the same amount of money as an attorney or a lawyer. I was like, okay, all right. So I just started going in, started showing up. Didn't have a license. I just started working without a license for a long time.
Yeah.
And so I started working on getting my license. I think it took me like 6 times to pass the real estate test, right?
Yeah.
Talk about failing forward, right? So I finally get my license. Literally I got my license, and I'd say within, I don't know, 1 week of it or the other, whatever it was, the market crashes. 2008.
Oh,
completely crashes like tanks.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm watching people just go underwater. Relationships are dissolving. Partnerships are dissolving. I mean, it was
developments like everything.
Yeah. So I go a year without selling anything. I couldn't even close a door, let alone a deal.
Yeah.
And it took me about 4 years. I was working like 3 or 4 jobs to survive.
Oh, man.
I mean, I was doing everything, but I liked it. And it's like, I always played like sports and I'm real competitive, you know, at things. So I didn't, like, when I saw everybody else, like you get emails from people that are always, you know, I do it too. Everybody talks about the deals they do. Yeah. And every time I'd see these deals come across my computer screen, I'd be like, man, if they can do it, I can do it. Yeah. So that's what kind of kept me in the game. Yeah. You know, so it was challenging. Like I said, it took me about 4 years to make any kind of real money in that market. Yeah. And the people who got into real estate over the last couple of years, they've had it a lot easier than I have. Which is cool. That's fine.
But they also hadn't. See, here's the difference, though. You went through the struggle. Yeah. So the problem is, and I think I've been saying this.
Yo, no, I like lost to the Pistons like 3 times before winning the championship.
Like
that was a struggle I was going through.
But that's what I mean. Whatever. Yeah. It's hard to say like when. So I feel bad for the new agents getting into it. Yeah. Because they're coming in at when the market is red hot. Yeah. Like literally, you go into the office. Someone wants to buy a home. Yeah. Someone wants to buy a home, or, you know, there's a real estate transaction right now. Yeah. But, you know, when the phones aren't ringing, what are you going to do? Because that's how, like, I had to grow property management. Like, I was knocking on doors. Yeah. I was sending out mailers. I was doing things that, like, they tell you to do in real estate school. Like, and trust me, there's probably 0 things you take away from real estate school because you never use any of them. Yeah. To be honest with you, I don't even know why they have, like, they should just set you down with someone and do 60 hours as a trainee with a real estate. You'll learn more because the 60-hour course, you learn, I mean, you're learning how, like, what's your fiduciary duties? What, you know, this, you're like, dude, I've never used that word in my life. Like,
that's actually a good idea. Like, just go out on the field.
It's like 60 hours of, like, dude, it's like community service. You got to put a little bit of community service in there, dude.
Everybody talks about training all the time, and which more power to the people. The training is valuable. You know, you got to train for everything. I've always been the kind of guy that I'd rather, like, just go do it and fail at it, and that's how I'm training. You know, like, actually, Maurice is probably going to ding me up on this when I say it. I'm not the guy that's, like, I don't like practice swinging at golf. Yeah. I like to just get up there and hit the ball. But Maurice has seen me hit the ball, so that might not be a very good analogy.
Yeah. Well, I think
I'm not very good at golf, but I do like playing.
But I always used to think like, you know, practice is one thing you can try, but like, dude, it's just experience. Yeah. It's literally just experience. Like getting in front of someone and talking to them about real estate and being comfortable is that's just a huge part. Like I remember my first time we went on like a listing appointment. And I had to take another agent with me. Yeah. Dude, and he just sat there and watched me. I bombed so hard. Like, but somehow I signed the guy up because he's walking me out of the door and he's like, I'm going to be honest with you, kid. He's like, I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm like, oh, Lord. He's like, it was terrible what you just said. Everything, I made no sense. And because I have ADHD, so I'm just hitting every point. Like, I'm literally like, well, dude, I can do this, and this is the percent, and, you know, this. And, like, I'm all over the place. And he goes, but you got something. He's like, you just need to figure it out. And, like, the whole way home, I'm like, how, like, you know, I'm so critical of myself on the way home. I'm like, dude, I can't believe I bombed so hard and still signed this dude up. Yeah. But he was like, willing to give me a shot. Yeah. Like, that was it. He was like, I can see you care. And, like, he came from just a knock on the door. It was just a knock, a mailer, and I like kept calling him. I was like, hey man, have you ever thought about renting your house out? And he's like, okay, just come meet me at this house. And it was like, dude, this is how wild it was. I never had did this before. Again, I was like, why would I take a listing appointment at like 8:30 at night? But that was the only time he was available. Yeah. Dude, I was like, I don't care. I'll meet you in the parking lot. Like, I'll come wherever you want me to get this deal.
That's what matters to people. Like, honestly, great thing you touched on. So when I got in the game, everybody was mad at their agents because the markets crashed. So agents always get blamed, right? Yeah. But the number one thing that I heard from everybody, you know, because I go into the listing appointments and things like that and didn't know my ass from a hole in the wall. Yeah. Or whatever. You know, you got to start.
None of us do, though.
But the number one thing that I noticed that everybody complained about with their agent was such and such won't call me back. Yeah. They won't answer the phone. And so I decided, look, I may not know the most about the market, but I will answer my phone. And I will do it no matter where I am, when I am. And it's like now I just walk in and say, look, when you contract me to work for you, I'm going to teeter somewhere between persistent and pain in the ass. That's just where it is. And what you said was, though, you said people want to know you care.
Yeah.
Right? And that's key. So.
Well, that was it. And you know what? Like, to touch on that. So, like, now I'm at the point now where, like, an hour out of my day is huge because I have 95 missed phone calls.
Yeah.
So, like, now I've been able to set up things around me to be support. You know, I have an assistant. I have someone that makes all of our outbound phone calls for, you know, qualifying tenants. If anything, you know, new owners come in. There's so many funnels that I have now and resources. But when I just remember starting this, dude, I was working until 9 o'clock at night, and it was, you know, Jim getting to the office by 7, and I'm working till 8:39, like until like I couldn't do it anymore because I believed so hard in what we were doing, and I had the right group of people around me. Like, I had my sister, and then at the time I had my best friend had moved down here, Brandon Shackett, and he, you know, was like, it was just like a family. Like, so we were all in this thing together, and like we would whiteboard stuff, you know, and like we put our little goals on the board. Like, what do you want to do? I want to buy my parents a house. You know, I want to do. And it was like, once you started seeing these things come to fruition, you know, when I'm moving my parents down to move down here, because we got them a house, you know, we were able to fortunately get them a lot and build a new home, all this stuff. Like, it was awesome. It was such a great experience. But, you know, also that doesn't mean it was always easy. Like, there was hard times, dude. It was a lot of hard nights where it was like, what are we going to do and how are we going to do this? And I think that adversity builds it. You know, that adversity, you have to take an L. Yeah. Like, you have to take an L to understand, you know, what it feels like to win, to feel like to be on the top of the mountains, right? Like,
and those L's, like, nobody wants to lose, but when you start to win, you kind of appreciate the losses. Like, there's something that really touches your soul about a loss. Yeah. Oh, you know, no matter what kind of loss it is, you know, like, well, I mean, it's just, that's true, right?
Well, I think the losses, always, you can learn from anything, even if it's, you know, whatever it is, you can always take, but you have to be open to looking for those things, right? You have to, like, actually pay attention to why did you lose? Yeah. What did you do wrong? And that was the biggest thing. If I lost out on a listing, I would literally play back in my head. Well, I'd call the person back and be like, why? Yeah. Tell me why. Was it me? You know, was it, and it, you know, oh, my fees are too high. Whatever it is. I wanted to know, because at that time I was like, how can I improve? Like, I have to improve. And the only way to improve is actually by knowing. Like, and sometimes that's hard to hear criticism of yourself. You know what I mean? And that was a growing thing for me, to hear someone be like, well, yeah, you were like, you know, you were talking all over the place. You know what I mean? You're not putting it together. You know, it's like, okay, how can I format this in my head where I'm, you know, doing this and that? So
not everybody's built like that, though. Like,
that's true.
Some people, if they don't start getting success right away, they're going to migrate to the next thing. Well, you know, I think it goes back to the generational thing, like we were talking about. This is not how we were. You know, it's like playing video games. Like, you grew up, you played a video game, and like Contra or something. You know? And it's like, no, you got to keep beating it. And there's no YouTube to tell you how to beat it. You just got to keep going and going and going and going. And there's, you know.
And unfortunately, when you lost, you started back at level 1. You had to start
all the way back to level 1.
There was no saved time position. You lost, you go back to square one. But you would remember, like, as a kid, I would be like, oh, I know why I did. I didn't jump over that, like Donkey Kong. Oh, I didn't jump over that barrel quick enough. I got to hit that like 3 seconds. Like, you would calculate all of those things in your head, which was, again, to your point, like, we just knew. We took that away from that loss. Like, we were like, all right, what did I do? Oh, I was late to push this. I didn't see that, you know? Yeah. And it might have took you 3 or 4 times, you know? Like you said, 6 times in real estate, like, to pass the real estate exam. Like, but here's the thing. Like, you learned from that of what every time you walked away. And it doesn't make you a bad person to not get it on the first try. Yeah. You know what I mean? That doesn't make you a better real estate. What makes you a good real estate agent 100% of the time is actually just the drive. Just waking up in the morning and be like, I want to help somebody.
And doing it.
Right.
And that's kind of what we were talking about earlier with college. Like, is it college important? And it's like, I could go either way on that. But honestly, I think college does teach you that ability of showing up. Yeah. Just show up. Just get it done. teaches you that life skill.
Yeah.
So that, we talked about that before the show
But
started.
here's the thing. I wish too, like for kids, they had an option. Like, no, I wish as a kid I could have went to classes for investing, for understanding what ROI is. What, like the thing is you're so far behind the 8 ball by the time you get into this. And some people actually were fortunate their families were in certain businesses, stuff like that. But imagine if you had something like that coming out of either high school or college. There was a course that you took
the system doesn't want you to have those skills.
Well, that's
because it's easier to control society if they don't have those skills.
I would agree.
And that's just my opinion. I'm not trying to get
but I would
here,
agree with you 100%.
Because it makes no sense for us not to have things like just basic economics in high school. Why is that not being offered?
When I was a kid, so in high school they had this like base level class. Like, so my senior year, I took it because it was the easy. I needed to pass for football. Like that's all I cared about was football. Literally, I just showed up just to play football. That's it. Like I didn't care about anything else, which was stupid. But there was a math class. I needed an extra credit. I needed another credit math, and they had this. It was like I don't even know what they called it. It was like real life math. You know what I mean? Like. So, like, you would learn how to balance your checkbook. You learned how to, like, do, house payment, calculate a mortgage payment, like, all of these things. So, like, when I got out, I already knew how to do all of these things. Not that I did, like, not that it's hard, but it would give you, like, real life scenarios. Like, oh, you want to buy a house. How much do you need down? How much is this? So, why don't we have more of that? Like, we should have more of that. We should have more of the option to do those things.
It makes too much sense.
Or, like, listen, but here's the thing. You don't have to make it mandatory.
Yeah.
But make it optional where, like, because colleges, like, I see a lot of kids come out of college and then they'll go get their real estate license. Like, I have a best friend who went to 4 years of college, 5 years of college, and he's a mortgage lender. He went to school for marketing. Like, what? I get it. It's a time to figure things out and all that stuff. But if you have those skills.
Yeah. But things like going to school for marketing probably helps him in his business today.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
Look at what I'm doing now with like everything I went to college for. Like most people don't use those skills in commercial real estate.
100%.
But I was like, I'm such a creative person that it's like I wanted to roll those skills into my business. And now it's more vital now than ever to have content, which is why we're doing the Prop Culture Podcast. You can tune in. Well, we don't have a date yet, but we'll let you know soon.
Sponsor us too. Yeah. We'll take all sponsors.
We're here with the brand, Maurice Waters, the brand.
Dude.
Little plug for Maurice. You guys need video content. Maurice is the guy.
I will wear anything. If you have something to give to wear, I'll wear it every week. Sponsor us,
Actually,
please.
we want to take this time to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Rainier Development Company and the Maryland and Delaware Group of Long and Foster. And also, if you're looking for some good entertainment and business, you can follow Trader Real Estate Entertainment on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or wherever you get your social media. Now, I got a question for you.
Go ahead, shoot.
Shane, you talked about playing football.
Yes.
Right? And for the wrestling fans out there, you remember the MJF promo that he did, the vignette he did from the football field. Every time you talk about playing football, that's what I think about. But we're not going to go into that yet. All right, we're not.
You always say I remind you of MJ.
How did like playing football? Because I know leading up to this, like every second you're like game day in 1 week. Like how did playing football in high school, like how did that help prepare you for business today?
Dude, what's so wild is our team was a bunch of misfits.
Yeah.
And, like, we were never projected to win anything. But it was just a group, like, we were regular, like, kids. Like, none of us were outstanding athletes. We were just, like, normal kids. But we weight trained. We did we were so committed to it. It was commitment. Like, at a young age, that's what I learned, was commitment. Like, so it would be every day we had weight training at this day. Then we would have 2-a-days. Then we would have 7-on-7. Like, it was just committing to it.
Yeah.
And it's so wild to look back on because as I was fortunate enough to have, like, one of my first mentors, one of my coaches, and God rest his soul, Coach Wright. He's in the Hall of Fame, Maryland High School Football Hall of Fame.
Where was it? What high school again was this?
Thomas Johnson.
TJ? Okay.
TJ. Repping up for TJ, dude.
Who were you, middle linebacker?
So I played nose guard, dude. I played nose guard.
Damn, dude, they were on some Delmar shit. That's
dude,
how Delmar rolls.
I played
little
nose
white boy
guard.
playing nose guard.
Yeah, I played nose guard, and dude, I'm fairly confident I have CTE from the amount of times that I hit my head.
Well, knowing you for as long as I've known you, I think there might be a chance that you do have CTE.
Dude, I would hit my head. Like, my helmet was like it was like I was proud of the the different colors on my white helmet. I'd be like, yeah, I got that big one. Yeah, I'd be
That's
like,
what
yeah,
you,
dude.
exactly. The more
Like,
marks you had, the better.
Yeah, I was
right?
like, yeah. But the
That's
worst
right.
part is like,
Yeah.
you know, like how many times did you, like how many times now looking back were you like, yeah, dude, I was a little concussed. Like you were getting up off the ground. You're like, oh, dude, I feel like, man, I'm a little shaky. Like you're like, oh, but I'm good. Like nowadays, they probably would pull, like they would pull us from the game. Like it was 100%. You're not going back in.
So parents, if you're watching, and people, if you're watching, if you're wondering if your kids should play football, they should probably play football. But this is an example of what CTE and Monster Energy drinks, 3 shots of espresso, and a coffee from SBY Coffee in downtown Salisbury can do to somebody.
Dude, 100%.
Right here, this is an example of that.
Dude, 100%. I'm fairly confident I got dumber as I went on in high school. So you know, but one thing it also taught me was team building.
Yeah.
Like it taught me to be a part of a team. It's the same thing as like a military or anything else. Like you just had a core group of guys, and it didn't matter if you liked everyone on the team or you didn't. Like when Friday night came, dude, we were all on the same team, and like if you mess with any of us, it was 100%. We're going out like swinging, dude. And so we made it that year, regional. So we were regional champions, and we made it to, I think it was state semifinals. So like one game ahead, we lost to Quince Orchard, who like had legitimately like 15. Like one kid actually plays in the NFL, Zach Kerr. Yeah, shouted him out too. Yes. But there was like a ton of athletes, and we were just a bunch of like farm kids. Like we weren't never supposed to be here. But you know, it really, football actually shaped who I was as a man. Because without it, when I was in trouble as a kid, because I was doing stupid stuff, like my coach wheeled me back in, and he made me be accountable. He made me do things that I didn't want to do. But it also instilled in me, like, long-term, like, okay, if I do this, if I repetitive, I will see results. And I was like 135 pounds when I got into high school. When I left.
At nose tackle.
Yes.
And you guys were successful.
So that was like freshman year. My senior year, I was like 185, like 195, depending on how much creatine was in my body, like, you know, how much water I had retained. Now, by the end of the season, because we would run country miles at the beginning of each practice. And that was just the start. And then at the end, we would do like county fairs or some other drill. Yeah. Dude, we would run.
Our coach. That was a county fair.
Okay, county fairs. So like there would be 4 corners, right?
Yeah.
And then, so there'd be a coach at each station. And then you would do the exercise, so like jumping jacks or up downs or whatever.
We just called it something different.
And
county
then,
fair.
Yeah, because it'd be like, and our coach distinctively talked like this. He's like, oh, so guess what? We have county fairs today. The fair's in the town. Okay, guess what? Everybody county fair. And like it was so, dude, looking back on it, you would hate it. Like you would hate it, and then but like it did teach you like just you can't quit because the like if he knew you could achieve more, he'd be like, oh, we're not gonna quit till you pick your ass up now. And so you would
was that really his voice?
Yeah. Oh, dude, he had
what was his name?
Coach Wright.
Coach Wright.
Ben Wright, dude. He was the man, dude. He was the absolute man, and like he would roast you in front of everyone.
Good.
And like it just made you be a camp. Like, oh, don't let me see you out in the hallways with those females. They're not good for you. Make you weak in the knees. Make you weak in the knees.
Oh, you don't need that. I get so weak. You remember SWV?
Yeah.
Shit? Yeah, we can
dude,
go.
Dude, right. So I mean, I was
R&B juice is flowing, boy.
Dude, woo! I was so fortunate, and I still keep in contact. One of my real actually good friends he used to be one of my coaches. He came in. He was young, but he was a D-line coach, and. Dude, he was
must have
awesome.
been a hell of a D-line coach if he had you at 135-pound nose guard.
185 pounds, dude.
What kind of creatine were you on? Barry Bonds.
So this is over 4 years.
Dude's out here on Barry Bonds. He went from 135 to 85 in like 5 minutes.
Well, so 4 years. I mean, trust me, it was a lot of like, dude, I would have to eat. I would eat like before I got to practice. Like I used to work at a pizza place. So shout out Belisarius Pizza. That's
good
my
pizza?
gosh, dude! Oh, it's the best pizza in the world. Like, and it's authentic Italian. Like, it is amazing. But I would used to like.
We need to get some pizza on this show.
Yeah, we do.
We need to get some one bite.
Dude, let's do one bite.
We're Portnoy fans. We need to get some pizza on the show.
I got an idea. Let's just go. We'll go to the beach one weekend.
Okay.
Let's just hit everyone. Let's rate everyone on the boardwalk.
Why don't we just get all kinds of food brought onto this show?
Yeah,
and then we could try it, sample it,
dude.
Make it sound good because We'll plug. Roadies is right next door.
Can we,
Roadie, if you're listening, let's get some food.
Yeah,
on Prop Culture.
Roadies, can we please?
We
get
already know you have good food, but we want to let the world know.
And
the world is watching. Prop
I would
Culture.
love for us to have a signature item on there. Not saying it that you have to, but maybe a sandwich of some sort.
So back to practice. How great of a feeling it was it? Like, because you're talking about how strenuous these practices were.
Yeah.
But how great of a feeling was it when you got done? That is like the greatest feeling.
Terrible.
What not?
Terrible.
Oh my.
Listen, no,
Dude,
because when we ended practice, hold on.
Like,
but when we ended practice, you got to realize when we ended practice, Coach Wright would be like, "Don't forget your dips and pull-ups. Yep, you're gonna do them till I'm tired."
Oh, you were hitting the weight room.
So we would leave practice and then we would do dips and pull-ups, and then he'd be like, "You do it until I'm tired, okay?"
Nah.
And then you'd be like, "Oh, like, dude, this is not gonna work." Like, as a kid, you don't understand. We worked out so many times, like, it was insane. Like, we pushed ourselves. We were working, and I joked about this the other day. Like, we were working out in a gym in the summertime, because I don't even know if we had AC, but we had those two big, like, the big fans, like the stuff you put in a barn. That's what we had no AC. Did we be in there sweating?
Yeah,
we would be in there sweating, dude. I mean, it was one of the hardest. If I look back on it, I'm like, oh man, it was so much fun. But like, we also had like practically leather helmets compared to what they have now, dude.
After our practices, man, it was like we're going to drinking Jack Daniels and doing other extracurricular activities. But I always talk about.
Are you doing the Ken Stabler?
We party, man. That's how we. That's just what we did.
He said he's doing the Ken Stabler.
I'm not saying directly after. I mean, I was getting my Gatorade.
Dude,
I was gonna hit the shower.
You were blowing a Newport 100 in the bag, dude. Like, that's wild.
I did actually smoke Newports.
Dude, you were hitting that. You were like, man, good practice, brother.
I did.
Good practice, man. All right, see you tomorrow, brother.
I tell my buddy that all the time, though. I was like, we always talked about how like great those buzzes were after practice, and it wasn't the things we were doing. I think it was the endorphins, because when you got done, there's something about when you get done working out. That endorphin buzz is amazing, right? I'm gonna hit you with some trader science, right? So I got this crazy, I don't know. I'm not no science. I have this crazy theory.
We need to start getting graphics for stuff like that, trader science.
So I've got this crazy theory, right? That I've conjured up in my little weird brain of mine, right? So I have this theory that so you have your serotonin levels in your brain, right? The thing that kind of regulates your moods. Yeah. So I have this thing that endorphins are somehow like attached to like this serotonin with like a string, almost like a tug of war string, right? Yeah. And the less you work out, the more these things are like stored up in your body. Yeah. So the more resistance it gets, it's pulling down on that, that serotonin. So it's bringing your mood down, right? Yeah. But when you go and work out, you go get that football practice. You go to the gym.
Okay, I can see that.
You release some endorphins, which in turn lessens up the resistance, and your mood starts to come up. So again, I don't know if any of this makes any sense. I'm sure there's like 20 doctors, probably 0 doctors watching this right now. But when there are doctors watching this episode, I'm sure somebody would be like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And that's cool, because we're on prop culture, right? That's all good.
This is trader science.
This is
dude, trader science is not 100. It's 30% accurate 100% of the time. Like it is 30% accurate 100% of the time. So we're not judging you based on that. Like,
so where do we go from here?
But hold on, to your point, like, I think I've blown my endorphins out because I drink about like 9,000 milligrams of caffeine a day. Because
we're pretty aware of that.
Because I have to, like, so I get up at 4 a.m. Okay, 3:30. Like, I have to wake up, get myself to be a normal adult. Like, okay, I got to go to. So I'll go to the gym.
So you're a normal adult. Is what you're telling me.
I try to be. I don't know how close to normal I am. I'm like close to it. Close enough to be like.
He's a normal adult.
Well, I mean, a normal human being that's like, okay, so 4 a.m. and then you're at work by 7, all that kind of stuff. But, by like 12 o'clock, you're dead. Like, you're already like, it's 4 o'clock for me by then. So without caffeine, I'm done. Like, dude, I'm done. I'm out. Like,
so you're up at 4 doing what at 4?
I work out. You got to work out.
Mark Wahlberg's on that schedule. He gets up like 3:30 or something.
Dude, there's nobody in the gym. So hopefully no one who is listening to this gets the idea of coming into the gym and crowding it. But 4 a.m., there are not that many people. So you can get in and out. You can get on the machines in and out, okay?
Okay.
Like Pure Fitness at like, let's just call it like anything 4 or after.
So we're
plugging an absolute zoo,
Pure Fitness plug. Please pause for this Pure Fitness plug by Shane Snoots.
Yeah, go to Pure Fitness right now or any other time. I think aren't they expanding like the facility as well?
I think
like,
so.
I think they're so.
Brandon Hudson, Salisbury MMA. I think he's got a big new facility coming up.
Yeah.
Of course, Champ Talk podcast. Brandon Hudson, tune in.
Shout out to Pure Fitness for everything they do there. I mean, they do have a nice facility. It's clean, and to be honest, like I said, they have enough stuff there with the 30 people that we have there. It doesn't feel like anything, everything's open. You can get in and out. So that's why I love going in the morning. Like, to be honest with you, I love going in the morning. And to me, it's better to do that in the morning just because by the end of the day, dude, you've already gotten you got your ass kicked, dude. By 5 o'clock, you're going to the gym. Dude, you're already done. Yeah. You're mentally done. So I know some people love going at 5, 6, all that stuff. But I love going in the morning because that's how it starts my day. Like, I start my day that way. Like, okay, let's get into it.
It's funny, I haven't worked out. I tried to work out last week, but just kids, life, and things kind of interfered. Although you can always make time for working out, so I'm making excuses. But, I mean, you don't really need to work out long. You work out 5 minutes to get a workout sometimes. But anyhow.
What 5 minutes? Hold on, real quick. I just need to. Let's reverse back.
Oh,
Hold on.
Oh, you can get a burner
another
in 5 minutes.
trainer?
Oh, you can get a
5-minute workout.
You can get a burner in 5 minutes.
Dude, okay. I need all of the personal trainers that are watching this. Send in a 5-minute workout that's working.
Some of them CrossFit workouts will get you, boy.
Brother, 5 minutes though?
I don't know, man.
Dude, brother, 5 minutes is not.
Go do 30 power cleans or hand cleans as fast as you can in like 2 minutes.
But how much weight? But are we using like PVC piping? Brother, I'm not doing 245 power cleans.
In fairness, I'm gonna be real with myself. Look at this guy and look at me right now. So, any fitness advice from here on out, take from Shane.
Dude,
all right?
You said 5-minute workout.
And tanning advice. This man is the Tanner. I'm gonna start calling him Danny Tanner right here live on the podcast.
No,
so I'm telling you, Bill, you can get some good little quick workouts. Hotel workouts.
Okay, but a hotel, dude, and that's the worst part. A hotel workout.
Burpees, 50 burpees for time.
Are you doing
burpees?
You're that dude doing 50 burpees in your room?
Hell yeah, man.
Brother.
Dude, before we go to any wedding, my wife and I go to weddings. And like we usually get so burnt out from the rehearsal dinners, you're like hungover. Dude, I get up, I'll drop 50 burpees for time and I'm ready to rock.
Dude,
baby.
okay, hold on. So you're in your room, you roll out of the bed. And you're doing 50. Hold on. You're doing
roll
50
out of bed and do
burpees.
this. I'm not 4 o'clock in the morning.
I'm just trying to figure this out because there's a gym downstairs, Daddy. Okay, that you can go to and do the burpees in there, or even get on a treadmill. Like, brother, come on.
Where's the gym? Is this at is this the PAL building? The PAL building. The PAL building.
Shout out to the PAL building. Yes.
And if you guys are looking for units at the PAL building, you can contact my man,
right here,
Shane Snoots, who is the property manager extraordinaire.
Yes. I mean, we're here's the thing though. Every hotel, I mean, unless you're staying in motels, which, brother, there's no judgment on my end. Like, we all got to do things, okay, brother? But I mean, I think every hotel at least now has a little bit of a gym. They got like an exercise room. They got a ball. They got like a treadmill and a bike, man. Maybe like 7 free weights and some kettlebells. And you're telling me, you're like, all right, hey, sweetie, while you're in the shower, I'm gonna do these 50. I'm gonna knock these 50 burpees out. You hear some shit running around. It's just me doing the burpees, baby.
Yeah, 50 burpees for time will get you. Yeah, 50 burpees for time.
Dude, you out of breath in your room. Yeah. I could love to see you at the end of your bed just doing, oh man, that 50 burpees, man, it got me that time, man. Calling room service. Do you guys have sparkling water by chance? Dude, that's wild. Man, gosh, the fitness advice, I mean, burpees in the room and 5-minute workouts, this is a game changer, dude.
Actually, I'm going to plug my boy Brandon Ziska, works with me at Rainier Development Company. Guy's killing it right now in the commercial real estate game. He'll actually tell you about some of my hotel workouts. Decline push-ups in the hotel room on dressers. We're not going to talk about where we were because I don't want to get myself.
Dude, these hotels are, again, there's a big difference. Hotels and motels are
we go to these like big, we've got these huge like commercial real estate conferences. Yeah. Like, I mean, they're like the.
So you have nice equipment
sometimes,
somewhere.
you know.
There's decent equipment, brother. Yeah. I think you just like keeping, dude, you watch Rocky 3 when he goes back with Apollo. And you're like, you're like, you know what? I'm gonna be gritty. Let's take that dresser, brother. Put it on my chest, and we're gonna rep it out 30 times, brother. Put the dresser on, and you're repping out the dresser. You're like, and then do you feel good about that afterwards?
Yes, amazing.
The eye of the tiger after that.
I got this cousin, And we used to load, we load trucks. My family owns Trigler Transportation in Delmar.
Yeah.
And he would make these dock workouts up. We're doing dips on the forklifts. We're doing like overhead presses with the pallets. So yeah, it's kind of
aggressive with pallets. Aggressive with pallets. You're doing the aggressive over.
Yeah.
Brother, again.
Back in the day, man.
I mean,
I'm not doing that shit now.
I get it.
But
Listen,
I will do 50 burpees for time.
When
Not right now. Not on this show.
Dude, let's do that next week. Let's do 50.
Nah,
You'd have to do 50. Dude, I bet that you probably couldn't do 20 burpees in that suit.
So my buddies and I we go on a ski trip, although this is the second year in a row we haven't gone. We go on the ski trip every year. So on the way down, we get to have this very conversation about burpees.
Yeah.
And one of my buddies was hitting CrossFit real hard at the time, hard. And I forgot what the challenge was. It was like how many burpees you could do in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And my buddy said he did like 120, and that's serious work.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. Like
dude,
this was like during the Open and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Some other buddy's like, oh, I could do that. Some other buddy's like, okay. He's like, well, I'll tell you what you do. While we're on this trip, he's like, I will pay you $1 for every burpee that you do. If you get to 120, I'll pay you for like every one.
$120
and more. He's like, and for every one you do over that, I'll give you $10.
Oh.
He's like, but if you don't, then you got to pay me for every one you come.
Dude, that's a lot of dedication.
So we get
on a vacation.
Yeah, with a bunch of guys. So we get to the we get to the hotel, right? We get to the hotel. We're all in there. It's like 15 of us. We're all in this hotel, and Bob Sinagra has this on footage.
Yeah.
So if we get Bobby Joe, everybody knows Bob Sinagra. I call him Bobby Joe.
Yeah.
So Bob Sinagra, who was on this trip, he has his footage. Maybe he can bring it on, right?
Yeah.
So my buddy comes in and he starts this thing out. Long story short, he got to I think 99 or 90. He did some work.
Yeah.
He literally, we all went skiing and he just went and laid in bed for
worked.
This kid is a straight up soccer player, played at SU, in shape guy.
Oh yeah.
So back to what I was saying, because we'll bring this full circle. You can get a workout in 7 minutes.
That's what we should have called this podcast, Full Circle.
Full circle.
We should have called it Full Circle.
Or maybe we should have called it Squared Circle. Because we're probably going to be talking about wrestling on here.
Well, because it takes us about 4 corners to get around to what we're talking about here. I mean, here's my only question to you is, so on the guys trip, because I know my guys trips with my boys, right? I mean, I will be real. We've done some workouts. We've created workouts to before you go out. If you're going to the beach or something, you got a little pump. Get the veins going, all that kind of stuff.
GTL.
Yeah, dude. GTL.
GTL,
Dude, I would bring resistance bands. If we were when I was a kid, mind you, this is 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when we were going before we would go out, we would bring resistance bands. And we would just tie those things to anything, and we would rep out 9,000 curls.
So now you're doing that.
No, but I mean, I would be, dude. It would be an hour workout of me, literally drinking. I'd be drinking and then popping 50 curls in a row, and then we would rotate around, and we would be at that time we were listening to probably Lil Wayne or something like that. Full circle about what we were talking about, Lil Wayne, dude. I'd leave there, dude. My arms would be dead. But dude, the veins would be popping, brother.
So you know what's funny as hell?
They were. I mean, dude.
So we talk about GTL and what you did before you went out.
Yeah.
In college, I ironed everybody's shirts.
Dude, you need one.
People come over, and bring me a drink.
Dude, you had to starch out that.
I was Iron Man, dude.
Dude.
I would sit there, and that's what I did. I would iron shirts. We just pregame while I'm ironing shirts, listen to Jay-Z.
Dude, I found that was always harder. Ironing shirts for me was always. It's not I'll be honest with you. That's why
dry cleaning now.
Yeah,
Crystal Cleaners. I don't know where your dry cleaners are, but we're plugging Crystal Cleaners today. Crystal Cleaners dry cleaning.
Where's that at?
Right at the Lotus Plaza on Route 13 in Salisbury. Crystal Cleaners.
Dude, I haven't.
They're phenomenal. Light starch. You don't want to get a lot of starch. They'll ruin your buttons. All right. Little fashion tip for you guys.
Yeah, no, I dry cleaning is it for me because I could never. I was never the best at that kind of the ironing stuff. I know it sounds terrible, but I was never good at doing any of that. So.
I couldn't do pants as good as shirts, but man, I could iron some shirts, boy.
No, but you know what? You always had a guy in your crew. So you would always have an ironer in your crew that would be like, all right, guys, bring your shirts over. Bring everything over.
My cousin cut hair.
Yeah.
So we had the hairstylist. We had the guy who was ironing shirts.
Yeah,
that's
dude,
what we did, man.
So, so it was you always had to get a fresh cut beforehand, and dude, this is wild enough. I'm going to tell you a true story. So this is what has made me always go to a barber for haircuts, like a legitimate barber. You have to go to a barber. I remember I was a kid, and like it was like picture day the next day. Like the picture day was coming, you know, whatever. So my mom was like, "Oh man, like you know, we got to give you a haircut." You know what I mean? So she had a pair of clippers, right? Like, and you know, as a kid, you're naive. Like as a kid, you think your parents can literally do anything.
Yeah.
Like they're experts at everything. So, like, my mom's like, all right, let's go. We go in the bathroom. You know, we're setting up. Dude, I kid you not. She took my sideburns to literally here. Like, I had no sideburns. And I had to go to school the next day. I had to go to school on picture day.
How much
with,
hair? How
dude,
much?
I used to have bowl cuts, dude. I used to have, like legitimately, like, long hair.
Yeah.
Like
the bowl cut was hot in the 80s, though. That was the thing.
Dude, this was the 90s.
Oh,
Daddies, it was the 90s,
the bowl
okay?
cut's not flying. Yeah,
Dude,
it's
I
not
was
flying
still
in the 90s.
rocking the bowl. And imagine, like, so I just got my hair cut and the sideburns are up here. Dude, ever since then, and it's a running joke at, like, in my family. My mom would be like, well, you know, hey, I could touch. I'm like, no, you will never touch my hair again. Like, I love you to death.
Yeah.
But I literally had to go through school for like 3 or 4 weeks with no sideburn, like legitimately up here. Like basically at that point, I was like, just do the Stone Cold Steve Austin and just shave it off. Like go ahead and I'll go fully bald at that point. And I have a pretty big head. So imagine that, like being bald as a kid, like, dude, it was wild.
Yeah.
It was wild as hell, dude. So
That sounds wild.
but you know what? You know, the one thing I will say, back to the football and everything else, I know you were a football guy. So I want you to tell me, like, how was your experience and what made, you know, kind of how that connected?
Man, I was kind of like the guy who, I was kind of guy who didn't listen. Like
Yeah.
I really didn't, man. Like I didn't give him all football and stuff like that. I was kind of, what's much time we got, Maurice? Sorry, 5 minutes. I don't know, man. Like I was always the kind. I'm gonna kind of go the other way with this. So like I was always more worried about the after party sometimes than football.
So you were a party guy.
I was, man. You know, I'll just be honest with it. But I've always been like that. I've always kind of walked against
When it gets
the
the grain,
crowd, so to speak. But honestly, man, looking back, like you said, it was all about the camaraderie and being with my
Brotherhood,
friend,
man.
Brotherhood, and like those guys, like it's like family.
Yeah.
You know, and so that was always important. But you know, yeah, I'm competitive in nature, like in general, and when I don't know, man, when people like tell me I can't do something, or when I feel like everything's kind of a sport, you know, I think I've become more competitive as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that definitely helps out. I know it's funny. I don't have much time. Maybe we should save it for another episode.
We'll put a pin in it. Let's call it.
But
put a pin.
Yeah, but I know this is just, you know, first episode. But I know that coming up on the next episode, hopefully he's going to show up.
Yeah.
So right now, guys, the real estate market, as you guys know, is absolutely crazy. The market is schizophrenic. It's all over the place. Valuation's nuts. If anybody out there can tell you that they know what your property is worth 1,000%, I think they're full of shit, personally. But don't get me wrong.
That's a hot take.
Don't get me wrong.
Hit me with a hot take.
Listen to your agents. But comparably, when you look at comparables, there are things that are trading drastically different, you know, in similar spaces. But with all that being said, we are going to try to have on the next episode a buddy of mine, great friend, Brandon Ross, who is the owner of Chesapeake Appraisal Company. And he's going to talk to us about the challenges he's seeing in appraising right now, and kind of maybe direct me a little better on property valuation, and Shane a little better on. Great guy. We're probably going to talk about all kinds of things under the sun beyond appraising. I can tell you that. But it's been a good episode, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. I think.
I think it, dude. I appreciate actually you believing in this. Started with a phone call and was like, let's just do it, man. Let's just do it. So, man, I think it's a good first episode to start into this thing, man.
We probably would have been here earlier, but we spent a lot of time trying to figure the name out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and then it takes. Well, I mean, today in general, like, we, you know, it's just me and you both know that's like.
Yeah.
We have to do certain things, and we're like, oh, we want to be right. Everything's got to be right for us. So,
but anyhow, we've been directed to land a plane here.
Yep.
Great being with you guys today. Thank you guys for tuning in. I don't know if you made it this long, but if so, thank you. We appreciate y'all, and we'll see you next time right here live.
Peace.
On Prop Culture. Is that all right for the first time, or is that? Perfect. You're just gonna do that every time. I like that. What's that?